Over the last few months, we've been using old issues of Electronic Gaming Monthly to rank the best and worst games for classic systems as diverse as the Sega Master System, the Philips CDI, the Genesis 32X, and both the Atari Jaguar and Lynx. Unfortunately, for the next system that I want to cover, we can't use EGM. That's right, despite being around for almost 7 months, the Nintendo supported the Virtual Boy. Electronic Gaming Monthly only managed to review 4 games for the system. Clearly, that's not going to be enough to base a whole episode around, but don't worry, I have an idea. Let's just switch magazines for an episode. Believe it or not, Nintendo Power managed to review all 14 games released on the Virtual Boy in North America. No other magazine even came close, with most of them covering only a few of the big games and just ignoring the rest. But no, not Nintendo Power. They put in the hard work to review the entire library. And I want to honor that dedication by using their words and their review scores to assemble this not quite 3D episode of Nintendo Power Ranks the Virtual Boy. Warning, this episode might cause headaches, nausea, and strong emotional outbursts.
It came from the third dimension, with its own brain, its own voice, its own legs. There's only one problem. It needs your eyes. Virtual Boy. See it now in 3D.
Alright, we're going to start our list at number 14, Waterworld. What could be more fitting than a company called Ocean making a game called Waterworld? As it turns out, putting some water in the game might have been a good idea. This 3D shooter uses nice sprite graphics and a fairly open field of play. The game is basically just an asteroid-style shooter with unlimited levels. It's the same design as the arcade game, but the Super NES game will have more variety. On the plus side, the background music is good. Number 13, Mario Clash. Mario Clash clearly demonstrates the wonders and strategies of 3D gaming on the Virtual Boy. Based on the early Mario Bros. Arcade game in which Mario jumped between 3 levels while avoiding Koopas and other enemies, Mario Clash adds a layer of depth that'll keep players moving and thinking in 3 dimensions rather than 2. Good use of the 3D capabilities in the Virtual Boy, both in the graphics and game strategy, though could have used more complexity and bigger variety of settings. Number 12, Virtual League Baseball. Kimco gets a grand slam off the Virtual Boy with this 3D immersive baseball game. The team is maybe international, but the action on the brilliant red diamond is all American. Whether you're eyeing a 90-mile-per-hour fastball or running down a pop fly, Virtual League Baseball presents a realistic baseball experience with good graphics and mechanics. Unfortunately, it's difficult to make defensive plays at the fence. Number 11, Teleroboxer. Teleroboxer takes you into a futuristic boxing match against robots and people who are powered up in their cyber suits. Gameplay feels a lot like Super Punch-Out! You can dodge to either side, hit high or low, block, and even use special moves. Learning how to outwit the computer opponents can be challenging since the action is fast and the AI is unpredictable. Teleroboxer has a good challenge and interesting opponents with super moves, but needs more boxers. Number 10, Galactic Pinball. Galactic Pinball combines traditional pinball play and feel with a 3D element that keeps the puck, not a ball, flying to multiple levels. There's a nice variety of boards and some cool sound effects, however the 3D doesn't add much to the way the game is played, and no battery to save your high scores. Number 9, Vertical Force. On the surface, Vertical Force may seem like just another space shooter, but there are really 2 surfaces or layers where the action can take place, and that makes this an interesting new gameplay experience. Strategically, this design gives players new opportunities to duck out of danger, while it also presents new dangers for leaping smack into the path of enemy ships and missiles. Vertical Force has a cool sci-fi premise and precise play control, but is ultimately a fairly standard shooter. Number 8, Jack Bros. It's Halloween, and the witching hour approaches for Jack Frost, Jack-o'-lantern, and Jack Skeleton, 3 fairy creatures who can't be caught away from the underworld after midnight or they'll vanish in a flash of red LED vapor. Much of the play of Jack Bros is classic maze stuff, but the game has a surprising adventure feel to it as well, partially due to the overhead graphic perspective that is reminiscent of the Zelda games. It's more challenging than you might expect, but has poor text and fairies for Halloween? Number 7, Mario's Tennis. Tennis in Virtual Boy 3D brings a more realistic tennis experience to home players than is possible on a television monitor. This game combines an easy learning curve with lots of action. Plus, it has some of the most famous characters from the Nintendo universe. You'll like the excellent tennis action and play control, as well as the fun characters and the modes. Unfortunately, Mario's Tennis is lacking a 2-player option. Number 6, Golf. T&E Soft is no stranger when it comes to quality golf games, and Virtual Boy Golf uses some of the same excellent features, including the curved swing meter and the gridded putting surface. The best part of the game, however, is its sense of control. An easy-to-use spinning menu lets you choose clubs, adjust your stance, view the course or your score, and generally do everything you can do on a real golf course. Golf has a great sense of 3D, however it's a bit limited with only one course. Number 5, Red Alarm. The first shooter for Virtual Boy turns out to be much more than the simple shooters you may have played on 2-dimensional video game systems. The wireframe vector graphics convey a real sense of depth in the Virtual Boy environments, but the graphics also present a few difficulties since there's no visible solid surfaces to indicate when your fighter has reached a barrier. Once you figure out how to navigate, the action really starts to howl. Number 4, Nestor's Funky Bowling. One of America's favorite games has surprisingly few video game counterparts. But all that may change now that Nestor's Funky Bowling for Virtual Boy is here. The one-time quipster from the pages of Nintendo Power has found his dream world, a world in which he is the focus of everybody's attention. The physics of the movement of the ball and pins is very realistic. Some great animations rub it in when you miss a spare. It offers very solid bowling action and a fun challenge, but alternating play on a Virtual Boy is awkward. Number 3, Panic Bomber. The Tetris-like action of Panic Bomber involves eliminating blocks by matching up 3 in a row and bombing that can blast entire chunks of blocks. It takes strategy and quick reflexes, but most of all, you want to avoid panicking. The puzzling is fast and fun, but it doesn't make good use of the Virtual Boy's 3D capabilities. Number 2, 3D Tetris. Tetris enters a new era on Virtual Boy in the form of 3D Tetris from Nintendo. Instead of the flat Tetris filling up the vertical column, players now find full 3D blocks that must be stacked to fill up a 3D space. On the plus side, this is a challenging game that automatically saves your progress and high scores. However, players won't find it easy to spend the hours that they spent on the original Tetris. And finally, number 1, Virtual Boy Wario Land. Wario Land not only shows off all that the Virtual Boy can be, it rocks! This is a fully realized game with some great 3D elements. In 14 stages, you'll face 4 major baddies and hundreds of lesser foes that come at Wario from every side, including the front and the back. If you've waited for a big Virtual Boy game, this is it. The only downside is that you'll want even more.
He's the epitome of evil. And he's on the prowl in the 3rd dimension. It's Wario. The diabolical one has gone 3D, where evil runs deep and danger comes out of nowhere in the most incredible adventure ever seen on Virtual Boy. It's Wario Land, a 3D game for a 3D world.
Wait till they get a load of me!
Hey, thanks for watching us counting down Nintendo Powers reviews. Whew, it's really been a long time since we've had one of these Nintendo Power episodes. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we have a whole playlist where EGM ranks everything from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to Batman to the Atari Lynx and a whole bunch more. Now, here's the question I have for you. What is your favorite Virtual Boy game? And if you never got around to actually playing a Virtual Boy, do you want to? Should Nintendo release 2D versions of these classic games for the Switch? Let me see your thoughts in the comments below. We'll be back later this week with the debut of Next Generation's 1-star reviews. In the meantime, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.